If you want to be a nurse and you're Black, I need you to watch this. First of all, I've been a nurse for 10 years and I can say all the things that I want to say because I don't work for anyone else but myself and my friends. But let's get into that later. When you work in certain specialties that traditionally Black nurses have not been able to get into, there will be a moving target on your back. If you have a social media, they will find it. If you make a joke online that has nothing to do with work, they will say that it's about work and about them. They will lie and they will backstab. There are a few things that I want you to know to help you get through this. Number one, you are not crazy. It is happening to you. But I want you to find someone that you trust. And oftentimes that person is not going to be someone that you work with. Second, when you are being targeted or attacked, document everything. Write it down. You will need it. Third thing, you are not a tree. You are not planted anywhere. You can always get up and leave. Lastly, it's not on you, it's in you, and it does get better.
But you know, the thing is, it's not only nursing, it's any field that you work.
Any field. We have to remember, guys, that there is literally a target on your back, right? I'm going to show y'all some stuff today that may totally blow your mind, but we're going to get into it because I want you guys to have a clear understanding. I'm going to play this very quick video. Hold on a second. Let me get it pulled up for you guys and give you a better understanding of what's going on, right? I've been showing you guys information. If you didn't see the video on the serpent seed basically yesterday, I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm really missing important information, but anyway, let's get to this real quick.
Convention here in the United States. One of the people in attendance at this secret meeting was Judith Varney Shorer. She's a former Israeli consul general who was operating out of Atlanta. She was one of the main people saying that the biggest problem that they had was young Black people in the United States.
This clip is actually from 2018. This is not recent. Obviously, with the things that's happening right now, it's resurfacing.
The major problem of Israel is with the young generation of the Black community.
Now, obviously, this video is from 2018, so this is some years ago. The BLM movement started. This was supposed to have been some secret council meeting that people were not even supposed to be recorded in, and obviously they recorded it. I don't know any additional context. I tried to find it. I couldn't find any. However, I can only take what this person said and apply it to my logic.
Black Lives Matter starts there. I had last week a dinner, sit-down dinner at my house for 40 people, which are considered the leadership of the Black community.
Using logic, I would assume that she would sit down with leaders with the BLM movement starting, and if they couldn't get us on their side, then we may be a problem. But again, I don't know. There's not enough context to tell. So without there being enough context around the secret meeting, we can only go by what she said, and what she said was the Black community may pose a problem to their community. That's what we're going to go by because that's what they said. But what did I say about the oppressor and being the oppressed? Do your research.
I want y'all to hear that again.
Like, this is not our fight.
Real quick.
Okay.
Okay, right. It's not our fight. It's the fight against you. Listen up.
A video of the Israeli government holding a private convention here in the United States. One of the people in attendance at this secret meeting was Judith Varney Shorer. She's a former Israeli consul general who was operating out of Atlanta. She was one of the main people saying that the biggest problem that they had was young Black people in the United States.
This clip is actually from 2018. This is not recent. Obviously, with the things that's happening right now, it's resurfacing.
The major problem of Israel is with the young generation of the Black community.
Now, obviously, this video is from 2018, so this is some years ago. The BLM movement started. This was supposed to have been some secret council meeting that people were not even supposed to be recorded in, and obviously they recorded it. I don't know any additional context. I tried to find it. I couldn't find any. However, I can only take what this person said and apply it to my logic.
Black Lives Matter starts there. I had last week.
Okay, so thanks so much for the video, lady. That shit is crazy. It goes into everything. I really wanted to show you guys the video from Bishop Gators again last night. He did another video, more confirmation. You guys know we just watched the serpent seed information not watched it. I just read the entire book yesterday, right? We read the entire book. And sure enough, Bishop Gators came in confirming every drop and bit of information that that I went over in the book. It's just crazy how the confirmation is always there. We're going to start with this. Let me go back a little bit.
Their governments seem to be democracies, in which the younger voluntarily submit to the decision of the older.
One more before.
This is the case with some of the smaller nations. In temperate and cold countries, it is more common for the tribes to be governed by councils of the old men and warriors,
like Israel,
and no important measure can be decided without their consent. Their governments seem to be democracies, in which the younger voluntarily submit to the decision of the older. This is the case with some of the smaller nations on the western coast of Jipka. Their public business and trials are all conducted a meeting called a palaver, which is attended by the whole village or tribe. 943J in the warmer regions of America and Africa, the chiefs of savage tribes are either elected for life, or inherit the dignity, and are absolute in their power.
Listen, talking about them.
Mexico and Peru were formerly absolute monarchies, in which the highest veneration was paid to the king. 944 The savage and barbarous tribes of Siberia and Terra have a great variety of governments.
And barbarous tribes of who? Siberia. Savage, barbarous tribes. When they keep telling you about you're a tribe, the Native Americans are the Indians. No, it's the tribes of. They were the savages from Siberia. They knew where they came from, Russia. Right? Let's go.
Some of them are democratic, and others aristocratic.
Listen.
Some absolute, and others Limite monarchies. But the governments of savage and barbarous nations are not usually well defined or fully understood by travelers.
Very confusing,
945 Arabia is governed by a number of independent chiefs, called imams, amirs, or sheikhs, whose authority is in some tribes absolute, in others limited.
Let me go back.
The state of the was paid to a meeting called a palaver, which is attended by the whole village or tribe. 943J in the warmer regions of America and Africa, the chiefs of savage tribes are either elected for life, or inherit the dignity, and are absolute in their power.
One more time.
Mexico and their governments seem to be democracies.
Let's go up.
Meeting called a palaver, which is attended by the whole village or tribe.
Savage tribes as well, natives and Africans.
In the warmer regions of America and Africa, the chiefs of savage tribes are either elected for life, or inherit the dignity, and are absolute in their power. Mexico and Peru were formerly absolute monarchies, in which the highest veneration was paid to the king. 944 The savage and barbarous tribes of Siberia and Terra have a great variety of governments.
Today too, so
some of them are democratic, and others aristocratic, some absolute, and others Limite monarchies. But the governments of savage and barbarous nations are not usually well defined or fully understood by travelers. 945 Arabia is governed by a number of independent chiefs, called imams, amirs, or sheikhs, whose authority is in some tribes absolute, in others limited. The state of Balochistan is nearly similar, but the Khan of Kalat is here acknowledged as superior to the chiefs of other tribes. Kabul is an absolute mon. Archie. 946 In the absolute monarchies of Asia and Africa, the king is a despot, with the power of life and death. There is no assembly of the people, or privileged order of hereditary nobles, to control his power, nor any law to limit its exercise. The governments of Abyssinia, Sennar, Morocco, Fezzan,
savage and barbarous,
most of the kingdoms of Africa, are of this kind. Dahomey is the most despotic government known. The king is regarded as a superior being, his subjects consider themselves as his slaves, and submit to the most barbarous and oppressive treatment. 947 In Persia and Turkey the only check upon the power of the Sultan is the Quran. This is interpreted by the ulama, or doctors of law, officers who are appointed by the Sultan, and their opinion is of course usually accommodated to his wishes. These monarchs are revered as the successors of Muhammad, and have on this account a peculiar power. The Turkish Sultan is restrained from no crime except by the fear of insurrection, but the government has become more regular and mild of late. In both these countries, however, there are many wandering tribes, governed by independent chiefs, who are only tributary to the Sultan, and must be courted by him in order to preserve their friendship.
So they're only what? Tributary to the Sultan. The Sultan creating chiefs of tribes, even though they are not chiefs of tribes. They're actually these savages that they put into their patriarchal system to assume a control. And, you know, we know the story, right? Let's go. Come on, don't stop that quick. We just got started. So annoying. So annoying.
Most of the kingdoms of Africa are of this kind. Dahomey is the most despotic government known. The king is regarded as a superior being, his subjects consider themselves as his slaves, and submit to the most barbarous and oppressive treatment. 947 In Persia and Turkey, the only check upon the power of the Sultan is the Quran. This is interpreted by the ulama, or doctors of law, officers who are appointed by the Sultan, and their opinion is of course usually accommodated to his wishes. These monarchs are revered as the successors of Muhammad, and have on this account a peculiar power.
Of Muhammad, huh?
The Turkish Sultan is restrained from no crime except by the fear of insurrection, but the government has become more regular and mild of late. In both these countries, however, there are many wandering tribes, governed by independent chiefs, who are only tributary to the Sultan, and must be courted by him in order to preserve their friendship. 948 The Pashas of Tripoli, Tunis, and Egypt are absolute chiefs or monarchs. These chiefs are nominally subject to the Emperor of Turkey, and send an annual tribute, often very small. They are independent in their own territories. In all these absolute governments, the monarch is liable to be dethroned by insurrection, and oppressive monarchs are often cut off in this way. Algiers, once governed by a pasha, is now possessed by the French. 949. The Emperor of China is considered as the father of his people, and bound to consult their good. His power is absolute. But there are established laws and customs, which it would be dangerous to violate. The government is administered by 9 orders of inferior officers, called by Europeans mandarins. The only qualification for office is learning, and regular examinations are holden for those who wish to obtain it. Each mandarin governs all below him with the same absolute power as that exercised by the emperor, and 950. In Siam, Burma, and the independent kingdoms of Hindustan, there are books of laws to regulate the administration of justice, but the whole power is in the hands of the king. In these, as in all the barbarous and half-civilized countries of the world, the absolute monarchies are really despotisms, notwithstanding any seeming limitations of the power of the monarch. 951 Russia was until lately an absolute monarchy, uncontrolled by a constitution. The Emperor Alexander delarded a constitutional monarchy. He appointed a Senate, which the power of remonstrating against any unconstitutional decree, or edict, whose proceedings are published every month. BT The great body of the people are still vassals, or slaves, and the power is entirely in the hands of the emperor and nobles. 952. Prussia and Denmark were formerly limited, but are now absolute monarchies, without any check on the power of the king, except established customs. In the kingdoms of Naples and Sardinia, the Roman states, the Duchy of Tuscany, and most of the duchies of Italy and Germany, the government is also absolute. The duchies of Hesse-Kassel, Nassau, Saxe-Gotha, and Saxe-Hildburghausen have representative governments. 953. Spain and Portugal were formerly governed by absolute monarchs. They have been in a revolutionary state for several years, and now have a Cortes, or Congress, to limit and direct the power of the king, but they are not yet in a settled state. 954 in the limited monarchies of Europe, the executive power and the appointment of judges usually belong to the king.
We went over this.
The legislative power
the
is shared
bench
between the king and
2
an
days
assembly
ago,
of
3
the
days
people,
ago.
and the consent of both is necessary to the passage of a law. The assembly is called a Jamerlement in
The assembly,
Civil
huh?
Geography. England, in Germany, Sweden, Norway, Sick, a Dird, and in Spain and Portugal, a Corks. This assembly corresponds to the Congress, or a legislature, in the United States. It is usually composed in part of nobles or peers, who inherit this dignity, and in part of representatives chosen by the people, so that these governments combine the features of a monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy. 955 The power of the Emperor of Austria is generally absolute. It is limited in Hungary, and some other states of his empire, by provincial diets, which determine the mode of raising taxes, and regulate their own internal concerns, but the Emperor determines on all the general affairs of the empire. 956. Sweden has a diet, composed of 4 states or houses, 1 of nobles, appointed by the king, 1 of representatives, from the clergy, 1 of burgesses, chosen by privileged towns, and 1 of peasants, every member of which must belong to the class of farmers by birth. It must be assembled at least once in 5 years. 957 In Great Britain, there are 2 houses in the Parliament, a House of Lords, composed of hereditary nobles and the highest dignitaries of the clergy, and a House of Commons, chosen by the people.
The House of Commons.
The representation in the House of Commons is very unequal, and large portions of the people have no voice in the choice of their rulers. In some cases, a few electors of
That's why we
towns
have
or
common
boroughs
law.
send as many representatives as 70,000 people in other parts of the country. The Vihals Kingdom is termed the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. 958 The
But
constitutions
whose
of
kingdom
France.
is it actually? Is it the Europeans' kingdom or someone else's? Damn sure not the Europeans. Let's go.
And the Netherlands generally resemble that of Great Britain. In France, every citizen may vote who pays a tax of $177 annually. 959 The kingdoms of 5 ARRM and RFR/TM6. _ hobby limited monarchies of the same general character with that of Great Britain. Hanover and Javoni / have also diets for their own government, but are under the dominion of foreign princes. The King of England is King of Hanover, the King of Sweden, of Norway. The Emperor of Russia is King of Poland. This country had a diet,
Same
composed
damn
of
places.
2 houses, 1 of peers, chosen BV the king, and
1
another of
appears, but it's not. You guys get it? This is fake. This is like a constructed ass story, continually creating continents back then that they would be able to use to usurp our land and have control, so on and so forth. I hope you guys are getting this. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. Wake up, wake up, wake up,
chosen
wake
by
up,
the
wake up.
nobility and gentry. It as abolished in 1832.
I'm not talking about it, they are.
The King of Saxum J is so far a limited monarch that he cannot make any change in the religion, laws, or taxes, without the consent of the people. 960. The independent states of Switzerland and the United
Independent. Listen, think about it. The House of Commons, putting you into a house, being boxed into a house, right? You are the common woman or the common man. There's common law, right? Therefore, if it's common law that you are the sovereign person of common law and the naturalized person of common law, in order to grasp you and put you into a book or a house, you will become the House of Commons via paperwork information. They have the control, being the kingdom, governance over the mind, governance over the people, the kingdom. So that's the House of Commons that's created a system to register, use, and abuse the common man and woman.
States are the principal examples of republican governments. Some of the states, or cantons of Switzerland, are democratic in their government, and others aristocratic. The individual states of the American Union are democratic republics, governed by assemblies, and a governor chosen by UIE people for a limited time. There are usually two houses of representatives, which are united with the governor in MG laws. The executive power is vested in the governor and OIS subordinate officers, and the judicial power, in judges, appointed in different ways, but usually for life. In Italy, is the little republic of St. Mino, of only 7,000 inhabitants, which has preserved its freedom for centuries. The Ionian Isles are also formed into a republic under the protection of Great Britain. 961 The Spanish-American states in Mexico, Guatemala, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, or Upper Peru, Chile,
How can it be Spanish-American? How can it be Spanish-American? Right? The blending and taking over Appalachian Mountains, all the Melungeons created from the Spanish and the indigenous, another area reconstructed and taken over, creating the indigenous Masons in that particular area as well, right? Let's go.
Republican governments. The island of Hispaniola or St. Domingo forms the Republic of Haiti, a government established by Africans who were formerly slaves to the French inhabitants of the island.
You hear that?
962 The principal confederations of states now existing are the United States, Germany, and Switzerland. In these countries, a number of independent states are united for mutual defense, but each retains, to a certain extent, its own government within its own limits. In Germany and Switzerland, there is a general diet, composed of representatives from each of the states. It has power, under certain restrictions, to raise money, make war, and take other measures for the general welfare, and to settle disputes between the states. It does not interfere in the internal concerns of any, but each state contributes its own proportion of men and money, according to its own choice. In Germany, the general government holds several important fortresses, and chooses the commanders of armies, subj*ot only to its orders. In the Diet, each state has a vote in changing the constitution, but in all ordinary measures, they have infd. Ins according to their extent, and several of the smaller. War and peace, collecting armies, and establishing fortresses.
Afrikaans.
The United States were formerly colonies or provinces of Great Britain.
The latter.
On the 4th of July, 1776, they were declared independent, and a few years after, the present constitution or system of government was formed.
Oh, okay.
There are now 24 separate states, united into one republic, and 4 territories, beside the Great Western Territory, formerly called Louisiana. 964 The laws are made by the Congress, which consists of a House of Representatives, chosen every 2 years by the people of each state, according to their population, and of a Senate of 2 from each state, chosen for 6 years. By this feature of the Constitution, the power of the large and small states is in equal measure equalized. In the House of Representatives, the large states prevail by the greater number of representati/es. In the Senate, the small states have equal power with the larger, in preventing the passage of a law. 965 The laws are executed by the President, who is chosen every 4 years, by electors appointed by the respective states. He is assisted 6/the Secretary of State, and the Secretaries of War, of the Navy, and of the Treasury.
Oh, what do we read in the mountain?
The President, with the approbation of the Senate, appoints the inferior officers of government, and those of the Army and Navy, most of whom can be removed also in the same manner. 966 The Jamelgas of the United States are appointed by the President and Senate for life, and cannot...
What did we read yesterday? what he just told you about the Navy, all these organizations being created, all part of the system. We're going to get into the services one day. Oh my gosh, there's so many documents, and they're all like 1,000, 2,000, 1,000, 1,800 pages. Like, it just frustrates me thinking about going into the information. I know I want to show you guys all the stuff I talk about, but some stuff is just like, I can't, do it. It's just too much reading and going through this book and pulling things up. But I will definitely show you guys some more information. I've shown you some things on the United States Navy last week. We went over some things they were doing, but it's important to understand their part, right, in this. And the serpent seed, the guy that gave the information yesterday about him going into the Navy, was the revealing part. He saw everything. He exposed everything, right? And here's more confirmation of the exact same thing. Let's go.
Be removed except by a public impeachment and trial for ill conduct. Their duty is to decide causes arising under the Constitution and laws of the United States, or those in which both parties are not subject to the laws of any single state.
Serpents.
Religion.
Lucifer seed.
Confession. The Massachusetts.
The light bearers.
Catholic rights.
The light bearers bearing a black dark seeded light onto the indigenous land, changing the actual pH balance of the soil of the earth and the womb.
67. The prevailing religions of the world are the Jewish, Christian, Mohammedan, and pagan. 968. The Jews are descendants of Abraham, who believe the scriptures of the Old Testament, but reject the New Testament, and expect a Messiah yet to come. Agreeably to the prophecies of Scripture, THY remain a distinct people, scattered through all parts of the earth, but nowhere forming an entire nation. They are not admitted to the common privileges of citizens in any country except the United States.
Y'all ain't gonna believe this one.
In Catholic and Mohammedan countries, they are regarded with peculiar detestation, and generally suffer much from oppression and persecution. It is stated that there are 15,000 in the United States. They are chiefly resident in the cities, and have synagogues in New York, Philadelphia, and Charleston. At Coclean, on the Malabar coast of India, there is a colony of black Jews, and another of white Jews, who retain a tradition that their ancestors arrived in India soon after the Babylonish captivity. 969 Christians are those who believe in Christ as the Savior, and receive both the Old and New Testaments as the guide of their faith and practice. Christianity teaches the existence of one supreme and holy being, the creator of the universe.
Right.
It inculcates a pure system of morality
and
requires
in a system
benevolence towards all men. There are three great divisions of Christians: the Eastern Church, Catholics, and Protestants, distinguished from each other by peculiar doctrines and modes of worship. EASTERXV Church. 970. The Eastern Church is found chiefly in Eastern Europe and Africa, and Western Asia, and its doctrines prevail over a great extent of country.
I want you guys to understand something too. When you hear a system, right? I talk to you guys all the time about STEM and stem cell, right? A system, which is a psi stem, right? What is the etymology of psi, right? Psi is with or together with, along with, in the company of, from pi, P-I-E, from pi, okay? Source also Russian, with, together. We're just talking about this, right? The Russian, the Siberian, they're telling you these are the people parts of these wild, savage-ass clans, right? So now, as you see, right, you're listening to the meaning of the prefix. Psi is a prefix. Psi, stem. So a prefix of stem, bringing or coming together with, along with, carrying along the company of your stem, which is your informational coding inside of you. So that's like controlling, adding on. What did they say about the serpent seed? Blending, moving on. I don't want to go too much into this, but if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Y'all see this picture right here? Y'all see? Look, y'all see right here? Look. These people something else.
For the variety of ceremonies used in its worship, for the number of holy days, and especially for the number and rigor of its fasts. The Christians of Eastern Church invoke saints in prayer.
Not real.
They kneel and burn incense before their pictures and relics, although T/EY do not allow the use of images, and they practice many other rites which are considered superstitious by Protestants. They are required to confess their sins to the priest and obtain his absolution, and they offer
Jewish,
prayers
Christian,
for the
Mohammedan,
dead carried
and
to procure their
pagan.
release from purgatory. 971.
Release from
That
purgatory.
branch of the Eastern, which is styled the Greek Church, embraces nearly all the inhabitants of Russia, and 2/3 of those of Turkey in Europe.
You hear that?
The latter are subject to the Patriarch of Constantinople, who is revered as the nominal head of a large part of the Eastern Church. There are also branches of the Greek Church in Circassia, Georgia, and Mingrelaya, between the Black and Caspian Sea.
Oh, I did.
972 in Egypt. There are 30,000 of the Eastern Christians, called Copts, subject to the Patriarch of Alexandria.
Religion.
The Mycenaeans also belong to the Eastern Church, and receive their bishops from Egypt, but Christianity is here grossly corrupted by the mixture of Jewish rites and barbarous customs, and little regard is paid to the purity and benevolence it requires. 973 The Armenians are an independent branch of this church, whose patriarch resides at the foot of Mount Ararat. They are found chiefly in Armenia, but they also have churches in various parts of Persia, and in Russia and Poland. 974 There are two classes of Christians in the East, the Nestorians, and Christians of St. Thomas, who resemble Protestants in their doctrines and modes of worship. The AES/Oriens are found in Tartary. The Christians of St. Thomas form a distinct body of people in the mountainous region of Cochin, on the coast of Malabar. Their number is about 150,000. They appear to have been taught by some of the early preachers of Christianity. They preserve a great degree of simplicity in their worship, and purity in their morals. One portion of them have become Catholics. 975 The scriptures are very rare among the Christians of the Eastern Church, even in Russia, and the people and priests are generally in a state of gross ignorance, except with regard to the mere ceremonies of worship. The Circassians and Georgians are in a state of barbarism as to knowledge and morals. And the priests are little better than the people. R03 IAX Catholics. 976 Roman Catholics are those who acknowledge the Pope, residing at Rome, as the head of the Church, which the Eastern Churches do not. They receive the decisions of the Church, and a large party, those of the Pope, as infallible, on points of doctrine and duty. They resemble the Greek Church in most of the ceremonies and doctrines, just described, but differ from them in refusing to ordain married men to the sacred office, and in allowing...
I wonder why people that are Masons, Freemasons, right, that go under these Scottish Rite Masonry, which is the whole head, right, from the original Masons, which is what? My son. The original Masons, so you guys understand, is my sons. M-A-S-O-N, my son, the mother's son, which is the seed, the pure light seed, right? The one that comes from the ionic womb, you know, the one that she was born with, the one that she had from her mama, her mama's mama, her mama's mama, the gene that never dies, the one that she's carried and every female carries into the womb. So this is why there is a Satan seed that we spoke of yesterday, the serpent seed that actually came to impede upon the matriarchal line and actually cut it off. This is why it is mutated from an X chromosome to the Y chromosome. It is a mutation. I showed you the parasites yesterday. Men, don't get upset. Them parasites showing you guys that are what? Just like the sperm cell. Look at the sperm cell. I didn't want to get into it, but if you look at the same pathogens and parasites that we showed you guys yesterday, this is a seed that was used, a blood seed, memory. It's a memory code, right? It's light code information. The sperm is like a memory stick. Literally, I've done a whole build on this before. If y'all didn't see it, look at the medical facts. The sperm is a memory stick. So it would do what? Everything that it just said. What did it say about the size stem, bringing it together and blending? This is y'all ain't ready for that, because I'm gonna blow y'all effing mind for real. Y'all think this shit is a joke. Let's go.
The use of images in their churches. They pay religious homage to the Eucharist in the ceremony of the J-Mass. Their clergy are well educated, but in the Roman Catholic countries of Europe, The common people are not allowed to read the Bible and are generally very ignorant. Like the Eastern Church, they live numerous holy days or feasts. And
now they're talking about an indoctrinated document, right? So a Bible that they said they don't want the people to have, because why? If they have it, they would be able to rule them their own selves, right? It's a memoir of information of the ancestors. So when you're reading these memoirs, they actually open up light code information inside you, the binary coding that you have in yourself, giving you remembrance, the things they want you to forget, right? So they try to alter it to make sure that you're getting a different story, the blending of truth, reality, the anti-Semitics that you hear about is oxymoronic, right? How can the original Jew be anti-Semitic if you are yourself the true Jew, what they consider Jew? Remember, these things are titles, guys. When you're thinking about nations and all these things, so many things have been changed. So for you to think, oh, they saying this, look, get the name shit out your mind. It's really about you trying to understand. So when I say certain things, I hope you can catch on with the light of your mind, not with the dead seed that's been planted inside of your mind. Yes, there is a dead black seed planted inside of your mind, a Luciferian light, a Rathium light that is a GMO offsetting of false light, all from Rathium. Raphael, Lucifer, right? Coming into the existence. And this is so freaking evident, guys. There's so much that you should be like connecting to with this. So when you're thinking about this, right, this Luciferian light coming in, planting a black seed or a dark seed in the mind, seeding the mind, planting something there that is a indoctrinated lie. So now when you hear these things, it becomes false to you. So you're not able to connect to the true light. Only if you have that inner light that's already shining bright, you will magnetize to the truth. So a lot of this, I shouldn't really have to break down too much for you to get a full comprehension of it, right? It should make plenty of damn sense. I don't see nobody in the chat responding. It ain't making sense to y'all, Lord. Let me just let y'all listen to the book and let them tell y'all and y'all get it from your own perspective, because I don't think y'all hear me.
Fasts 977. The Roman Catholic religion is most prevalent in the middle and southern countries of Europe, and in the French, Spanish, and Portuguese colonies in America and Africa. In the
Portuguese colonies,
states,
where?
The people
in America and Africa. So they got all kind of people going to all these different places, huh? They so damn poor, but at the same time, they such travelers. Let's go.
Of Louisiana, Missouri, and Florida are chiefly Roman Catholics, and they are numerous in Maryland. All these states were settled by persons of this denomination. The whole number in the United States is estimated at 50,000 to 600,000, with 230 clergymen. They have also a number of literary and religious institutions. There is an incorporated society of Jesuits at Georgetown,
what I told
containing
you?
93 members, and a Sulpician monastery.
Georgetown.
United States.
Let's go back.
The people of Louisiana, Missouri, and Florida
in Egypt
are chiefly Roman Catholics, and they are numerous in Maryland.
They got some whole other shit. Listen.
All these states were settled by persons of this denomination. The whole number in the United States is estimated at 50,000 to 600,000, with 230 clergymen. They have also a number of literary and religious institutions.
Listen.
There is an incorporated society of Jesuits at Georgetown, containing 93 members, and a Sulpician monastery at Baltimore. There are convents at Georgetown, Port Tobacco, and Ermaysburg in Maryland, others at Boston and New York, 3 in Kentucky, and 1 in Missouri, containing in all from 100 to 200 nuns. The Roman Catholics have colleges. There is an incorporated society of Jesuits at Georgetown, containing 93 members, and a Sulpician monastery at Baltimore. There are convents at Georgetown, Port Tobacco, and Ermaysburg in Maryland, others at Boston and New York, 3 in Kentucky, and 1 in Missouri, containing in all from 100 to 200 nuns. The Roman Catholics have colleges at Baltimore, Georgetown, New Orleans, and St. Louis, and seminaries at several other places. Protestants. 978 Protestants are those who do not submit to the authority of the Pope, or of the Roman Catholic or Eastern churches, and generally admit no rule of religious belief or practice, except the scriptures. They have more simple forms of worship, and fewer ceremonies and holy days. 979 T/IH are divided into a number of sects, of which the principal are Lutherans, Calvinists, Episcopalians, Presbyterians, Congregationalists, Baptists, Methodists, Moravians, or United Brethren, and Friends or Quakers. Luther, and the first reformers who left the Catholic Church, were called Protestants, because they protested against a decree of the Emperor and Diet of Germany, which condemned their opinioes. The name was afterwards applied to all who dissented from the Roman Catholic Church. 980 On the continent of Europe, Protestants are usually divided into Lutherans and Calvinists. Lutherans are the immediate followers of Luther, found chiefly in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Prussia, Germany, and Hungary. In Sweden and Denmark, the Lutherans are governed by bishops, and in other countries by superintendents, whose power is much more limited, and derived merely from their election. The Laplanders are professedly Lutherans, but there is a great mixture of superstition and idolatry in their opinions and worship. In the United States, there is a number of Lutheran churches in Pennsylvania and Maryland. 981 Calvinists are those who adopt the peculiar opinions of Calvin. They are most numerous in Scotland, Holland, Switzerland, France, Germany, and the United States. The Lutherans and Calvinists of some parts of Germany, and the neighboring countries, have recently united into one body, under the name of the members of the evangelical faith. 982 In Great Britain and the United States, the opinions of Protestants are so various and so well known, that it is only necessary to mention the principal classes, as distinguished by peculiarities in their government or religious rites. 983 The Reformed Church established in England and Ireland, is called the Episcopalian, because it is governed by bishops. Episcopalians are chiefly found in Great Britain and the colonies settled from it. In the United States, they have 1 bishops and 700 churches. They are most numerous in the middle and southern states. 984 Presbyterians are those Protestants, who are governed by representative bodies of the clergy and laity, called presbyteries. The established churches of Scotland and Holland are Presbyterian. This is also the prevailing denomination in the middle United States, probably the most numerous south of the Hudson River. One portion of the Presbyterians in the states of New York and New Jersey form a distinct body, under the name of the Dutch Reformed Church. It is composed almost entirely of descendants from Dutch immigrants. 985 Congregationalists are distinguished from Presbyterians, chiefly by the fact that each congregation claims the right of governing itself, except in those cases where it voluntarily submits to the authority of others convened in council. They are considerably numerous in England, and embrace most of the inhabitants of the eastern United States. They are sometimes called independents. 986 Moravians, or the United Brethren, are chiefly found in Moravia and other parts of Germany. Their whole number is stated to be 40,000. A few Moravian settlements exist in the United States, of which Bethlehem and Nazareth in Pennsylvania are celebrated as places of education for children. 987 Mennonites or Baptists are most numerous in Germany, Holland, and the middle and southern United States, and form a large and increasing body of Christians. 988 Methodists are chiefly found in Great Britain, the United States, and the English colonies in America. They are divided into several portions, of whom the Wesleyan or Episcopal Methodists are the most numerous. A division has recently taken place among them in this country. The Whitfield Methodists are chiefly found in England. 989 Friends or Quakers are found chiefly in England and the United States.
Oh, them Quakers.
There are 500 congregations in the United States, most of which are in the middle states. They are most numerous in Pennsylvania, which was originally settled by them. 990 These sects are also subdivided, in some measure, in opinion. Most of the Presbyterians and Congregationalists maintain Calvinistic opinions. A part of them are Armenians, Unitarians, who do not admit the doctrine of the Trinity, and Universalists, who deny the eternity of future punishments, are formed into distinct sects in the United States. 991. The following tables exhibit the numbers and distribution of different sects of Christians in Europe and the United States, according to the best estimates. Tables of Christian denominations. Denominations: Roman Catholics, Greek Church, Protestants, Lutherans, other Protestants, Europe. Number and countries: 117,000,000 Southern and Middle Europe. SP, XIN, Portugal, and Italy, exclusively. France, Austria, Poland, Belgium, and Ireland, almost entirely, and a large part of the German states. Switzerland has 700,000, England 500,000.
Lie. Listen, I'm going to read to you guys what it says. This page is authored. I don't know if you guys can see it, just like the other two. It says that the Reformed Church established in England and Ireland is called the Episcopalian. So England and Ireland is the Episcopalian because it is governed by the bishops. Episcopalians are chiefly found in Great Britain and the colonies that are settled from there. In the United States, there have been 11 bishops and 700 churches. They are most numerous in the middle and southern states, all of where they can indoctrinate, right? It says Presbyterians are those Protestants who are governed by representative bodies of the clergy in Italy called presbyteries. The established church of Scotland and Holland are Presbyterian. So we know who the Presbyterians are, right? Already. Just, think so you know. This is also the prevailing domination in the middle United States, probably the most numerous south of the Hudson River. The most numerous south of the Hudson River, New York, New Amsterdam, all these areas. One portion of the Presbyterians is the state of New York and New Jersey, and they form a district body under the name of the Dutch Reformed Church. It is composed almost entirely of descendants from Dutch immigrants. So a lot of the area, when you're thinking about New Jersey, New York, all the high end, Manhattan, oh my gosh, you go there. It's just so beautiful, guys. I might pull up a picture just so you guys can see it if you've never actually been in New York, but just seen pictures. Congregationalists are distinguished from Presbyterians chiefly by the fact that each congregation claims the right of governing itself. Listen, this is why they authored it. Listen, each congregation gains the right of governing itself, except in those cases where it voluntarily submits to the authority of others that are convened in the council. They are considerably numerous in England and embrace most of the inhabitants of the eastern United States. They are sometimes called independents. They are sometimes called independents, Moravians, or the United Brethren. The United Brethren. They are chiefs found in Moravia and other parts of Germany. Their whole number is stated to be 40,000. Their whole number. A few Moravian settlements exist in the United States, and with Bethlehem and Nazareth in Pennsylvania, listen, with Bethlehem and Nazareth in Pennsylvania are celebrated as places of education for children. I want y'all to see that. Y'all need the screenshot. So when people be coming, oh, Nazareth and Jesus and the Bethlehem. I've showed you guys before the Bethlehem. I showed you in Niagara. We're the same place they're telling you. I showed y'all the actual pictures of the shit in the old book. Do y'all remember a couple of weeks ago? Who remembers? Press one. Put a one in the chat if anybody remembers. I showed y'all a picture of Niagara Falls and it being the Holy Lands. Like, seriously. It's like you can't play with this shit. Now you see how they just tried to alter this book so you didn't hear that, right? But I just read to you guys what it said. Right? Didn't I just read it? I'll read it again. Moravians in the United Brethren are chiefly found in Moravia and other parts of Germany. Their whole number is stated to be 40,000. A few Moravian settlements exist in the United States, in which Bethlehem, in the United States, in which Bethlehem and Nazareth which are in Pennsylvania, are celebrated at places of education for children. Come on, make it make sense. Is y'all alive in this chat? Wake y'all ass up. Y'all hearing this? Since I know you remember saying it. Anybody else other than Sis that I know was tuned in when the information was getting spoken and shown, and all the time I dedicate to make sure you guys get this so it's clear in your head and you can understand this fake ass story. They got this fake ass war. They got all the stuff they going on. The video I just showed you of this lady, Judith, we're going to go over something about her again in a second as well. So I want you guys to understand this. I guess you guys don't remember. You do remember Phoenix? Okay, great. Yeah. So one more time for those in the back, the ones with a salt ass head, that shit's shaking around and so damn loose in there, can't nothing be solid and formed into matter of thinking. But yeah, let me talk to the salt heads. Listen again. Moravians, or the United Brethren, are chiefly found in Moravia and other parts of Germany. It says that their whole number is stated to be 40,000. A few Moravian settlements exist in the United States, of which Bethlehem and Nazareth in Pennsylvania are celebrated as places of education for children. Make it make sense, right? It also says that the Mennonites or the Baptists or the Mennonites, which are the same, right? The Baptists or the Mennonites are most numerous in Germany, Holland, and the middle and the southern United States, and form the large and increasing body of the Christians. Well, damn, the numerous German, Holland, middle, southern United States. So all this is United States, German, Holland. Interesting, right? Methodists are chiefly found in Great Britain and the United States and the English colonies in America. Methodists are chiefly found in Great Britain, the United States, and English colonies in America. They are divided into several portions, of whom the Wesleyan or the Episcopal Methodists are the most numerous. A division has recently taken place among them in this country. The Whitfield Methodists are chiefly found in England. Friends or Quakers, Friends, when you hear about the Friends, those Friends that we signed treaty, the Treaty of Friendship, with these the Quakers, the Friends or the Quakers, right? Quakers, Crackers, Jesuits, a lot of the same dang thing. Friends or Quakers are found chiefly in England and the United States. There are 500 congregations in the United States, most of which are in the middle states. They are most numerous in Pennsylvania, which was originally settled by them. Yes, the Quakers. When you think about the Quakers, that's their originality, where they come from, derived from, because we're looking at everything we just went over. These sects are also subdivided in some measure in opinion. Most of the Presbyterians and the Congregationalists maintain Calvinistic opinions, and part of them are what? Armenians. Armenians, you say? The Unitarians, who do not admit the doctrine of the Trinity, the doctrine of the Trinity, and the Universalists, who deny the eternity of future punishments, are formed into distinct sects in the United States. The following tables exhibit the numbers and distribution of different sects of Christians in Europe and in the United States according to the best estimates. When we go into all these different old books, it just amazes me when they always talk about Europe. But when they come to naming the royals, the kings and queens and all that shit, they go talking about England. It's almost hilarious at this point, right? Like, make your mind up. What do you want to be? Are you Europe? Are you England? Like what part of the world are you? Right? Are you London? We got London here in America. So which part is that? We got Jerusalem here. We got Nazareth here. Like, which part are you? Oh, that fake ass bloodline, that dark planet ass seed. Not only the seed that was planted in the soil of the land, the soil where all things matter. You okay, Bookie? Where all things matter, right? Let's go. Let's see if they can read this right, huh? Let's see if they've altered this page as well, right? Let's start over.
992. The state of religious toleration varies in different parts of the world. In most Catholic countries, Protestants are not permitted to assemble for public worship, or to enjoy the usual rights of citizens. France is the only Roman Catholic country in which they are admitted to office. 993 in England, Sweden, and some other Protestant countries, none but those of the established or prevailing religion can hold offices. In England the established church is Episcopalian, and all other denominations are called dissenters. The number of dissenters is estimated at 1/4 of the whole population.
Really?
994 the United States is probably the 993 in England, Sweden, and some other Protestant countries, none but those of the established or prevailing religion can hold offices. In England the established church is Episcopalian, and all other denominations are called dissenters. The number of dissenters is estimated at 1/4 of the whole population. 994 the United States is probably the only country where those of all religions enjoy equal privileges. Mohammedans. Interior court of the Temple of Mecca. 1 Kaaba 2. Place of the Holy Stone 3. Sepulchre of Ishmael. 1. Tres Y. 995 Maho 3 Ayatans are those who believe in the Quran, or sacred book of Muhammad, an Arabian impostor, who lived 600 years after Christ, and pretended to be inspired. The Quran teaches the worship of one God, and forbids idolatry, but it requires an idolatrous reverence for Muhammad, and prescribes a pilgrimage.
A pilgrimage.
His
Listen
birthplace.
again.
1. Tres Y. 995 Maho 3 Ayatans are those who believe in the Quran, or sacred book of Muhammad, an Arabian impostor, who lived 600 years after Christ, and pretended to be inspired. The Quran teaches the worship of one God, and forbids idolatry, but it requires an idolatrous reverence for Muhammad, and prescribes a pilgrimage to Mecca.
A dissenter says a dissenter is a person that is non-established, right, with the church. A person that is a member of something non-established with the church. Non-conformist, a person that doesn't conform to the church, right? That, like you're a descendant. a dissenter. You are a dissenter and a descendant because you're not what? You're not conformed to the church. You're a non-conformist. You stray away from that. It's like, hey, I got my own mind, my own governments. I can think. That's somewhat like a person they would say is sovereign per se, right? A non-established church or a non-conformist. That is what a dissenter is.
Birthplace. The Prophet forbade the use of spirituous liquors and swine's flesh,
spirituous liquor and pork,
and occasional fasts.
Listen.
He permitted much that Christianity forbids as criminal, and promised to believers a sensual paradise hereafter. The Temple of 3 Ika is an open to Mecca, his birthplace. The Prophet forbade the use of spirituous liquors and swine's flesh, prescribed circumcision, and occasional fasts. He permitted much that Christianity forbids as criminal, and promised to believers a sensual paradise hereafter. The Temple of 3 Ika is an open court, surrounded by a wall and porticos. In the center is the Kaaba, containing a black stone, which has been esteemed holy by the Arabs from an early age. A Muslim is required to pray 5 times a day with his face towards the Temple of Mecca, always washing before prayer. During the month Ramadan, he is obliged to keep a rigorous fast, abstaining from eating, drinking, and smoking, from dawn to evening. He is also commanded to give alms to all who faith. Fijly perform these duties, and above all, to those who die in fighting against the enemies of the Quran. Muhammad promised a paradise. Every believer should have thousands of slaves at his command, and every appetite and passion should be gratified. 996 There are 2 principal sects of Mohammedans, who differ concerning the right of succession to Muhammad: the Shi'is, or Shiites, who are chiefly Persians, and the Sonnites, who embraced the inhabitants of East Persia, Arabia, Turkey, and independent Tartary. The latter form of Mohammedanism is the prevailing religion in northern and eastern Africa, and many of the tribes of Senegambia and Sudan, bordering on the Sahara. There are probably 15 million of Mohammedans in Hindustan. 997 The Sikhs, residing between the rivers Jumna and Indus, who are said to mingle the doctrines of Muhammad with Brahmanism, appear to be in effect deists. The Shiites believe that Ali, the son-in-law of Muhammad, and the Shahs of Persia are his rightful successors. Sunnites claim this honor for Abu Bakr, the father-in-law of Muhammad, and the sultans of Constantinople. The Sunnites wear a white turban, and the Shiites one of red woolen. A new and powerful sect of Mahometans has sprung in Arabia, called Wahhabis, from the name of their founder, who profess to its reformers, endeavoring to restore Islamism from its corruptions. They forbid the idolatrous reverence commonly paid to the temple of Mecca and the tombs of saints, and worship only in the open air. 998 Muhammad propagated his religion by the sword, and taught that it was a crime deserving death, and justifying any degree of hatred and oppression, to profess any other religion. The characteristics of the system...
Real quick on that. Now, thinking about the Christendom, if you guys remember the book in Nebraska, I stepped away a second, sorry guys. I wanted to stop it a second ago to say something, but I'll move on. If you guys remember when we read the book about Nebraska, and when they came and took the 50 million acres of land, selling it off for $1 acre, using the BLM office, they created like 5 BLM offices, taking over the land, bringing people in. They were literally setting people up on the land. They weren't even on the space. People were from across country sending like $12 or some junk, and they were able to get a plot of land here, not even have set foot in America. These people so treacherous. And what they did, they told them, hey, either you turn to God, you turn to Christ, or you will be cut off at the head. This is what he's talking about. I'm gonna go back. They told them you'll be cut off at your head. And they said, listen, it's better for you to die and go to Christ. Once they Christianized them, right? They said, it's better for you to go to Christ and get all the riches in heaven, get all the glory. There's nothing more great, and everything in heaven is way better than all this riches and golds and diamonds and minerals and all that stuff you got here. You don't need this stuff here on earth. Just go on and die and go into heaven. So they did this, right, with part of the Christendom, literally taking the sword and cutting them off at the head. We've heard this story before. Let me go back, just in case you guys didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
A new and powerful, the Shiites believe 990 Vijly perform these duties, and above all, to those who die in fighting against the enemies of the Quran, Muhammad promised a paradise. Every believer should have thousands of slaves at his command, and every appetite and passion should be gratified.
Them good old white
996 There are two principal sects of Mohammedans, who differ concerning the right of succession to Muhammad: the Shi'is, or Shiites, who are chiefly Persians, and the Sunnites, who embrace the inhabitants of East Persia, Arabia, Turkey, and independent Tartary. The latter form of Mohammedanism is the prevailing religion in northern and eastern Africa, and many of the countries of Senegambia and Sudan, bordering on the Sahara. There are probably 15 million of Mohammedans in Hindustan. 997 The Sikhs, residing between the rivers Jumna and Indus, who are said to mingle the doctrines of Muhammad with Brahmanism, appear to be in effect deists. The Shiites believe that Ali, the son-in-law of Muhammad, and the Shahs of Persia are his rightful successors. Sunnites claim this honor for Abu Bakr, the father-in-law of Muhammad, and the sultans of Constantinople. The Sunnites wear a white turban, and the Shiites one of red woolen. A new and powerful sect of Mahometans has sprung in Arabia, called Wahhabis, from the name of their founder, who profess to its reformers, endeavoring to restore Islamism from its corruptions. They forbid the idolatrous reverence commonly paid to the temple of Mecca and the tombs of saints, and worship only in the open air. 998 Muhammad propagated his religion by the sword, and taught that it was a crime deserving death, and justifying any degree of hatred and oppression, to profess any other religion. The characteristics of this system are gross sensuality, a rigid observance of ceremonies, and a spirit of malevolence towards all but Mohammedans. The sects are very numerous, and are scarcely less hostile to each other than to Christians and Jews. The Mohammedans use a crescent, or figure of the new moon, as their distinguishing emblem, and place it at the top of Trier Neos, UEs, and on their military standards, and hence it is used to designate Mohammedan Sea. Inhabited world. The priests are called mullahs, or imams, and the chief priest of Turkey, a mufti. Pagax. 999. It is estimated that there are 800 or 900 millions of inhabitants upon the earth. Of these, probably about 100 millions are Christians and Jews, and about 100 millions Mohammedans. The remainder, from 590 to 600 millions, are usually called pagans or heathens. 1000. The Javisu Hollanders, some of the Hottentots, and a few other tribes, do not appear to have any religious opinions or ceremonies, but far the greater part of the pagan world practice the worship of images and false gods. There are numberless systems of paganism, which have little resemblance to each other, except in their absurdity, idolatry, and immorality, and a minute description of each would require volumes. Only the leading features of paganism can be given, as it exists in the principal geographical divisions of the world. Pagan idols. 1. Brahma. 2. Budhu. 3. The Chinese, Thunderer. 1001. The most refined systems of paganism are found among the nations of Asia, east of the Belarutag, and appear to be branches of the ancient shamanism. They teach the existence of a supreme deity, called by the Hindus Brahma, by the Burmans and Siamese, Bud, or Budhu by the Tibetans, La, and by the Chinese, Fo, or Fohi. They suppose him to be in a state of inactivity, and believe that the world was created, and is governed by numerous inferior deities. 1002. These nations have sacred books, which contain elaborate systems of religion, exhibiting a strange mixture of sublime truths and pure morality, with the grossest abcm and the most cruel and wicked rites. 1003. As they believe that the supreme deity pays no attention to the world, the greatest part of their worship is paid to the intexi or divinities. The sun, moon, and stars, fire and water, rivers, mountains and animals, are among their deities, and a deformed idol, or even a shapeless block of wood or stone, is often the object to which prayer and sacrifice are offered.
Sun worship.
It is not uncommon for the worshippers to revile or abuse their idols, if they do not obtain what they desire. 1004. The Gwebris or Gaurs of Persia, anciently called the Magi, worship at the celebrated bituminous ground at Baku, c. 11847. There are several temples in which the flame is always burning, and is believed by the worshippers to be sacred and eternal.
The eternal flame.
Many are found in Hindustan, under the name of Parsis. 1005. The inhabitants of Tibet, Chinese Tartarij, and the neighboring portions of Siberia, regard the Grand Lama, or High Priest of Tibet, as the chief object of religious veneration. They suppose him to be animated by the god La, or Fo, and many of the Tartar tribes call him the everlasting Father of Heaven. The family now reigning in China, and a large part of their subjects, are his votaries. In China, great veneration is also paid to Confucius, an ancient philosopher of the country, and to a number of other inferior deities. 1006. The Hindus worship Brahma, under a number of forms, in which they suppose he became incarnate, and a multitude of other deities of subordinate rank. They say that they have many millions of gods, some of which are idols of the most deformed and disgusting kind.
Exactly.
The Brahmanists are distinguished by their division into various castes, who cannot intermarry, or change their rank or employment. Those who neglect certain religious precepts or rites become pariahs or outcasts, and are treated with more cruelty than beasts.
Listen again.
1000. The Brahmanists are distinguished by their division into various castes, who cannot intermarry, or change their rank or employment. Those who neglect certain religious precepts or rites become pariahs or outcasts, and are treated with more cruelty than beasts. 1007. The nations of farther India are Buddhists, and are not divided into castes. The Asiatic nations generally believe in the metempsychosis, or the transmigration of the soul after death, into another body. For this reason, the pagan Hindus esteem it a sin to destroy the life of any animal, and refuse to eat animal food. In correspondence with this idea, the worshippers of the Grand Lama believe that when he dies, his soul passes into the body of some child, who is sought for, and placed upon the throne. He is trained up from his infancy by the priests, and is never permitted to speak to his votaries.
That part.
He appears to be little more than a living idol, governed by the priests, and proclaimed be them to the people, as the vicegerent of the deity. 1008 Among the natives of Western, Central, and Southern Africa, there are no sacred books, and the systems of religion are of most absurd character, usually classed under the name of fetishism. Every person selects what he pleases: an insect, a serpent, an egg, a piece of wood or paper, or any other object. The most common or the most disgusting for his deity, or fetish, to which he offers prayers or sacrifices. The object of worship may generally be changed at pleasure. Sometimes a whole village or tribe adopt the same fetish. The instruments and articles of curiosity made by Europeans, SLCH as anchors, cannon, and CC, are often selected as deities by these idolaters. 1009 Combined
Amazing
with
how they
Buddhism,
put it on paper,
we generally find the
to
worship
control
of
you.
evil deities,
Make
and
you
a
worship.
belief in sorcery, especially among the barbarous and savage tribes of Africa, Northern Asia, and Lapland.
Barbarous.
The evil
savage.
deities are often most worshipped.
They want to tell you these damn people.
Fear of their anger. Sorcerers are often supposed to possess the powers of a deity, and the same regard is paid to their wishes and commands.
These damn people.
Catch tribe usually has one or more sorcerers, under different names, who are applied to for the cure of diseases. They are consulted in every difficulty, especially before undertaking any important enterprise, and nothing is usually done without their approbation. 1010 The latter part of this description is also applicable to the Indians of Ui America, but idols are rarely found among them. Their religious services consist of feasts, sacrifices, and incantations, which are practiced regularly once or twice a year,
rituals,
and are repeated on important occasions.
Doing it on your land against you every
Pagans
damn
ascribe
day.
vice and cruelty to a great number of their deities, and suppose some of them to be evil beings, and hence they often worship them with wicked and cruel rites, as well as those which are irrational, in order to gain their favor. 1012 Prayers are generally offered by their priests, and they believe the merit to be proportioned to their number. The prayers often consist of mere repetitions of the name of the deity. The Tartars write them on slips of parchment and hang them in the wind, or fasten them to a small windmill, supposing that every motion serves as a repetition of the prayer. 1013 The ceremonies of worship are usually absurd and superstitious, and often grossly indecent or vicious. The Hindu temples are stained with pollution and vice, scarcely found among the most abandoned class of men in Christian countries. T/ie sacrifices are usually animals, food, money, ornaments, and .c. according to the supposed disposition of the deity or the wants of his priests. But human sacrifices were formerly universal among pagan nations, and are still practiced in Hindustan, Africa, New Zealand, and other islands of the Pacific, and among some of the Indians of North America. In Mexico, 20,000 victims were formerly offered to the sun every year. Even in ancient Britain, the country of our ancestors, Woden and Thor, and other imaginary deities, were formerly honored by human sacrifices. In Africa, especially in Ashanti and Dahomey, several thousands are sometimes killed on the grave of Fakan Karat, and great numbers on other important occasions. In Polynesia, Tli Humaku victim is sometimes devoured by the worshippers. 1014 Numerous penances and superstitious lights are observed. Worship of the Grand Lama, a widow on the funeral pile of her husband. Japanese trampling on the cross. Among pagans to obtain forgiveness of their sins. The Hindus bathe themselves and their dying friends in the sacred rivers, Ganges, Indus, and Krishna, behaving that their waters wash away sin. For the same purpose, they undertake long and painful pilgrimages, and often inflict the most severe tortures on themselves. Some sit or stand for years in the same position, until they are stiffened. Liars broil before a fire, or lie on beds of spikes. Others are sawn asunder, or throw themselves under the wheels of an idol's car, which crushes them to death. They believe that by some of these practices, a man may at length become superior to the deities.
Look, who y'all see right here? Why are these Indians right here in this procession? I want to know. I don't know why. Somebody in the chat, tell me what you see right here. Beating the drums, being a part of it. You see it. The Catholic procession.
Widows are even adjured to burn themselves on the funeral pile of
Look
their
like
husbands,
agents to me.
and thousands were burnt alive annually in Hindustan. This practice is now forbidden by the British government in India. 1015. The standard of morality among pagan nations is of course very low. Vices which are ascribed to deities, or practiced in their worship, cannot be forbidden to their worshippers, and murder, theft, impurity, and dotsy are scarcely considered sins.
Trampling on the cross.
In China, Hindustan, the pagan islands of Polynesia, and in some tribes of the North American Indians, infants are allowed to be destroyed. Other nations
Not
expose
Chinese.
or kill their parents and friends.
When we talk about history, it's Japanese, not the Chinese, Japanese, the indigo.
Become sick or infirm. The New Zealanders, and some of the tribes of Africa and South America, feed on human flesh.
Praying Indians.
In short,
you seen them proceeding,
there is scarcely any crime which man can perpetrate, which is not a part of the worship of some pagan religion, or allowed by its precepts. 1016. The following table will show the comparative numbers of each religion according to several estimates. Table of the inhabitants of the world according to religion, FR03. Different authorities. Malty Bryan. Graberg. Catholics, Greek Church, Protestants 2608000 I 70,042,000 Hassel. Balby. 134.000,000 139,062,062.000,000 55 million. 59,030,000 total. Cyrus Lambs 228,236,000 0,000 235,252,260,000 000 Jews 50000 I 5,000,000 3,9 pounds 0,0004 Oko 000 Mohammedans ILO.00
Damn, we talking big numbers, right?
120,120,000 120,105,000 96 million Brahmans I 60,000
Y'all see they took all of this. I want y'all to see this. I want to keep stopping because I'm stopping and talking too, but y'all watching it. And y'all know this is what book number 6, where we found alternate information. So you're listening to the true information. They put pictures here. Look, they put pictures here to cover all that information. Everything we've been reading for this, while I was showing you guys the pictures, they've been reading through documents and showing, they put the pictures there, right? In reference to the story, but they altered the book. You can see in the background of some of it. I don't know if that's the prior page, but listen, you heard it for yourself. They're doing it again. All these pages they skipped over with the pictures. The pictures were smaller, I'm pretty sure, and they were probably at the top or the bottom of the page with documentation. And then what they did was alter the book so that they can hide certain information. But y'all hearing it, listen to these numbers again. Let me run it back for you.
1060 on human flesh. In China,
on human flesh.
Hindustan, the pagan islands of Polynesia, and in some tribes of the North American Indians, infants are allowed to be destroyed. Other nations expose or kill their parents and friends when they become sick or infirm. The New Zealanders, and some of the tribes of Africa and South America.
One more time.
1015. The standard of morality among pagan nations is of course very low.
Listen,
vices which are ascribed to deities, or practiced in their worship, cannot be forbidden to their worshippers, and murder, theft, impurity, and dotsy are scarcely considered sins. In China, Hindustan, the pagan islands of Polynesia, and in some tribes of the North American Indians, infants are allowed to be destroyed. Other nations expose or kill their parents and friends when they become sick or infirm. The New Zealanders, and some of the tribes of Africa and South America, feed on human flesh. In short, there is scarcely any crime which man can perpetrate, which is not a part of the worship of some pagan religion, or allowed by its precepts. 1016. The following table will show the comparative numbers of each religion according to several estimates. Table of the inhabitants of the world according to religion, FR03. Different authorities. Malti Bryan. Graberg. Catholics, Greek Church, Protestants 260A0000 I 70,042 million Hassel. Balby. 134.000,000 139,062,000,000 55 million. 59,030,000 total Clyris lands 228,236,000 0,000 235,252,260,000 000 Jews 50000 I 5,005,003,9 pounds 0,0004 Oko 000 Mohammedans ILO.000.000 120,120,000,000 colon 120,105,000 96 million Brahmans I 60,000,000 F 0 60,060,000
Damn them numbers.
11-1-353 000 160 million Buddhists NC 1150 carat 0 0,00150.000,000 180,000.000 315,977,170,000 all other pagans 100,115,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000 147 million total pagans 420,445,030,460 million of carat the Z /NE carat 653,000,000,000 686,700,938,421,000 to the power of 737,020 to the power of 681,925,473 million. Christian missions. 1017 The pagan nations of Europe were early converted to CHRSI and IDHJ, the agency of the apostles, and earlier missionaries from Julka, and in later ages, the practice has been continued of sending Messiah to pagan nations, Blio have been in some degree successful in enlightening and refuting them. 1018 Roman CA//IO/ICS have uniformly established missions in all countries which they have colonized in Asia, Africa, and South America. But Try have usually neglected, or forbidden the URC of the scriptures, and I rave too generally given little instruction, except in the ceremonies of their worship. 1019 The Africans of some king loins of Lower Guinea and Zanzibar have become professed Catholics, under the instruction of the Portuguese priests, and have erected a number of churches. But they appear to know little of the principles of Christianity, and retain nearly all the superstitions and vices of paganism. 1020 The Indians of South America, who are under the control of the Spanish and Portuguese, are compelled to profess the Roman Catholic religion, but are easily in the grossest ignorance of religious truth. Some of the South America tribes embraced Christianity under the care of the Jesuits, who combined religious instruction with other useful.
What I told y'all of the Jesuits. I keep telling y'all about these damn Jesuits, the Quakers, the pioneers, man, the homesteaders coming in through Canada.
Knowledge, and the arts of CIAtization. 1019, 1018 Roman CA//IO/ICS have uniformly established missions in all countries which they have colonized in Asia, Africa, and South America. But try have usually neglected, or forbidden the URC of the scriptures, and I rave too generally given little instruction, except in the ceremonies of their worship. 1019 The Africans of some king loins of Lower Guinea and Zanzibar have become professed Catholics, under the instruction of the Portuguese priests, and have erected a number of churches. But they appear to know little of the principles of Christianity, and retain nearly all the superstitions and vices of paganism. 1020 The Indians of South America,
Okay, I'm gonna go to the
who
next
are under the
page.
control of the Spanish and Portuguese, are compelled to profess the Roman Catholic religion,
I want y'all to see
but
the
are
chart.
easily in the grossest ignorance of religious truth. Some of the South America tribes embraced Christianity under the care of the Jesuits, who combined religious
Yes, it's real.
instruction with
They
other
dirty.
useful knowledge
They
and
dirty,
the arts
baby.
of CIA-tization. A few of these tribes attained a considerable
appreciate
degree
it,
of
sis.
improvement, especially those of
Glad you
Paraguay,
learned it, babe.
who now form an independent, civilized community. 1021 The Moravians were the first Protestants who sent missionaries to instruct and civilize pagan nations, and have been distinguished for their zeal and labors. Their
Wait till y'all see
example
this
has
chart.
been followed by the Baptists, Methodists, Episcopalians, Presbyterians, and Congregatio-Iralists CF Germany, Great Britain, and the United States, and to some extent by the Danes and Swedes. 1022 Protestant missionaries of Univnmili carried the scriptures to those whom they designed to teach, and have translated them into numerous languages, some of which were never written before. They have in many instances established printing presses, for printing the scriptures and other useful books. Tla'i have also instituted schools, for giving instruction in all branches of useful knowledge, as well as in religion and morals. In Hindustan alone, there are 50,000 children in the missionary schools, among whom are many females, who were never before allowed to receive instruction. There is probably a greater number in other parts of the world. 102.3 Only 1,131 Protestant missionaries are even now employed among 500,000,003 of pagans, yet their efforts have been attended with some success. The missions in Hindustan have led considerable numbers to an enlightened profession of Christianity. Among the North American Indians, SF/EV/Trillies M. Massachusetts and New York have been civilized and Christianized by the efforts of missionaries, and great advances have been made towards the same object among the Clyokes and other southern tribes. 1024 Many villages of Greenlanders, Eskimo, and Hottentots have been reclaimed from their idolatrous practices and savage mode of life, chiefly by the agency of the Moravians. The Society Islands, which were distinguished 50 years since for their abandoned vice and cruel superstition, have been led, by the instruction of English missionaries, to renounce their idols, and give up Lund.I and sacrifices, and are now equally distinguished for the apparent purity of their rituals, and their regard for Christianity. The Sandwich Islands are now following their example, under the influence of American missionaries, and 52,000 children are taught in the schools. 1025 The following table exhibits the number of Protestant missionaries, teachers, and stations, in different parts of the world. Most of the missionary stations will be found marked upon the maps belonging to the work. Of 1,131 missionaries and teachers, 570 are employed by the Missionary Societies of England, 165 are sent by the London Society, 200 by the Wesleyan Methodists, 140 by the Church Missionary Society, and 85 by the Baptists. American societies employ 328, of whom 234 are under the care of the American Board of Commissioners for Foreign Missions. 63 are Wesleyan Melodists and 23 Baptists. Tabular view of Protestant missions, in 1,833 countries. Western Africa, and Germ and Amer. Missionaries, South Africa, N. INIRAV. And germ. Miss.
All right, guys, we're going to move on to this now. Everyone, I'm pretty sure, it's a few of you in here for someone to remember Little House on the Prairie. Who remembers Little House on the Prairie? Little House on the Prairie. If you remember Little House on the Prairie, put a 1 in the chat so we can get into the real story. So we can get into the real actual story of these damn pioneers, freaking people. The ones that were coming in, Jesuits and all. Right. Yep. Y'all with me. Let's go. All right. Let's get to it then. Teaching documents. Teaching documents. So, Little House in the Census. Check this out. Little House in the Census. ALMANZO and Laura Ingalls Wilder. Who is Laura Ingalls Wilder? They said and created the story of Little House on the Prairie, but it's actually Little House in the Census, right? From the National Archives, we're going to get into this story of this chick. The Little House on the Census in the ALMANZO and Miss Laura Ingalls. Check this out, guys.
www.archives.gov June 20th, 2002 Teaching with Documents Lesson Plan. Little House in the Census. ALMANZO and Laura Ingalls Wilder. Background: every 10 years since 1790, the U.S. government has taken a census to enumerate the population so as to apportion seats in the House of Representatives. Census enumerators canvass their districts house to house, collecting information about individuals and households on large forms called population schedules. In each decennial census, Americans from the famous to the unsung and the infamous appear, including favorite figures of literature. Laura Ingalls, ALMANZO Wilder, and their families of the popular Little House on the Prairie series were not merely characters of book and television.
Listen.
They were real people who appeared in the census many times, including those of 1,880 in the Dakota Territory and 1,900 in Missouri. The information briefly tallied in the census reports gives us glimpses of the drama so richly and lovingly expanded upon by Laura Ingalls Wilder in her tales. For example, in the 1,880 census, the records show that Mary, Laura's sister, was blind, but provided help in keeping house. Enumerators in that census were instructed not to make such a note unless a daughter contributed substantially to the welfare of the household. Thus, an imaginative researcher can surmise that Mary lived a productive life despite her blindness. One can confirm this hypothesis by reading the Little House books, learning that Mary attended and graduated from the Iowa School of the Blind. The census sheets shown are 2 pages of the hundreds of thousands of pages in the custody of the National Archives. The National Archives holds original and microfilm copies of enumeration schedules from 1790 to 1870 and microfilm copies only of the 1,880, 1900, 1910, and 1920 schedules. The microfilm copies of these schedules are available to researchers. Most of the 1,890 census was destroyed by fire in 1921, but microfilm of surviving fragments is also open for examination. To protect the privacy of people enumerated during a census, the records are closed to research for 72 years. The release date for the 1930 census will be 2002 http://1930census.archives.gov/. The schedules are part of the records of the Bureau of the Census, Record Group 29. The Ingalls and Wilder families can be found in the 1,880 census of the Dakota Territory, Kingsburg County, T9, Roll 113, Enumeration District 87, Supervisors District 15, pages 146A and...
Yes, sister, you heard it, right? Sis said Ann Keller, but you guys remember this? The story is actually Helen Keller. Remember? Helen Keller. Helen Keller. You was right on it though, Donna. You right. See, I love when y'all with me. See, this the participation I like in my chat. Y'all usually right on point. Boom, boom, boom. When they be getting dead, I'd be like, oh Lord, my vibration going down. See, when I know y'all mind is ignited, then it's a little better. Yes, it was Helen Keller. Helen Keller. With the school and yeah, all these stories. Something else, huh? Funny how they all intertwine. Let's go. Ann Keller. They saying Ann, but it was Helen Keller in the story, remember? Just keeping in mind, guys, a little switcheroo to try to, make something.
147C, line 28, document 1. In the 1900 census, the married couple, Laura and Almanzo, appears in the schedule of Missouri, Wright County, T623, roll 908, enumeration district 152, supervisors district 8, p. 226A, line 42, document 2. Census records for many states are incomplete. Before 1830, often only the number of persons in an enumeration district was forwarded to Washington, D.C. Schedules from 1790 through 1840 give names of the heads of households only. Other family members and slaves are tallied by age and sex. With each succeeding census, additional information was gathered, as can be seen in the examples from 1880 and 1900. The National Archives has microfilmed all the available census schedules and the indexes to them. These microfilm rolls are arranged alphabetically by state and thereunder alphabetically by county. Usually, all of the schedules for one county are on the same roll. Some rolls contain records for several counties. Microfilm copies of census schedules are available for use in the research rooms of the National Archives in Washington, D.C., and its regional facilities. In addition, many state archives, state historical societies, and university and public libraries, and federal depository libraries have collections of census microfilm for researchers' use. Information about microfilm publications related to the census schedules is available in the NARA Archival Information Locator Database http://www.archives.gov/research_room/nail/index.html. This information includes how to order.
You're not wrong, babe. Let me clarify. Like I said up here, when you say Ann Keller, it's the same person, babe. Remember, it's the same person. Ann Keller and Helen Keller is the person. I'm pretty sure if you look up who was like that's how that part, but yeah, let's
to view and how to rent copies of microfilm. The documents document 1. Page from 1880 Census National Archives and Records Administration Records of the Bureau of the Census Record Group 29 Document 2. Page from 1900 Census National Archives and Records Administration Records of the Bureau of Census. Record Group 29. Lesson Resources Standards Correlations Teaching Activities Document Analysis Worksheet Page URL http://www.archives.gov/digital_classroom/lessons/Laura_Ingalls_Ingalls_Wilder.html U.S. National Archives and Records Administration 700, Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest Washington, D.C. 204081-86 Nara 1, 866-272-6272. www.archives.gov June 20th, 2002 Teaching Activities Standards Correlations. This lesson correlates to the National History Standards. Era 6 The development of the industrial United States, 1870 to 1900. O Standard 2 demonstrate understanding of how massive immigration after 1870 and how new social patterns, conflicts, and ideas of national unity developed amid growing cultural diversity. This lesson correlates to the national standards for civics and government. Standard 2.B.1. Explain how certain characteristics tend to distinguish American society from most other societies. Cross-curricular connections: share these documents and teaching suggestions with your history, language arts, math, and geography colleagues. Vocabulary development 1. Many terms in your explanation of the census and in these documents need to be identified for students. Ask students to locate the following terms in the documents and to use classroom resources, textbooks, and reference books
about the
to
indoctrination.
explain
Y'all
each
hear
term.
this?
Census, document, enumeration district, incorporated, mortgage, nativity, owned free, population schedule, and supervisor's district.
Population
Analyzing
schedule,
the document
not a
2.
schedule. Listen.
Instructs, ask students to locate the following terms in the documents and to use classroom resources, textbooks, and reference books to explain each term. Census, document, enumeration district, incorporated, mortgage, nativity, owned free, population schedule, and supervisor's district. Analyzing the document 2. Instruct students to examine the documents. Blank census forms are available from familytreemaker.com at http://www.genealogy.com. Ask students to figure out the column headings, the number of families represented, their place of origin, their level of education, and their economic status. B. The 1880 census note gives Laura's age as 13, the 1900 census note as 32. Both censuses were taken in June. Which is correct? How do you account for the error? C. Using the questions from the 1900 census,
what he just said that
direct
add up to
students
me.
to
Let
conduct
me
a
see. I know
census
my
of their
math
own.
real damn good. He said the 1880 census gives Laura's age at 13. And it says the 1900 census as 32. So in 1880, if she was 13, and then the census in 1900, 20 years later, that's 33, right? So when it says it's listing her as 32, maybe the census was done before her birthday. What's the big deal about that? That's weird, but I thought that was strange he said that, but let's go.
Households. D. Direct students to compare and contrast the responses to the questions in 1880, 1900, and the census the students made of their households. Discuss with them similarities and differences and ask them to hypothesize explanations and generalizations based on their census information. E. Ask students to brainstorm a list of other resources they could use to substantiate their theories. Map skills 3. Ask students to extract geographical information from the population schedules of 1880 and 1900 to answer the following questions.
A real sketch.
A. In what area of the Dakota Territory did the Ingalls family live?
Dakota Indians territory. What do you think? Okay. Who is this? Oh my God. What happened? Did I hit the thing? Hold on, let me see. I don't know why it stopped, guys. Hold on, they must be trying to lie in here somewhere. Look, it ain't even playing no more. What happened? That's crazy. Hold on, guys. I know the reader ain't stopped.
B. The 1880 census note gives, using the questions for, discuss with them similarities and differences and ask them to hypothesize explanations and generalizations based on their census information. He asks students to brainstorm a list of other resources they could use to substantiate their theories.
Let's go right along the trail.
Map skills 3. Ask students to extract geographical information from the population schedules of 1880 and 1900 to answer the following questions. A. In what area of the Dakota Territory did the Ingalls family live? B.
In the Dakota Indians.
In what area of Missouri did the Wilder family live? C. Estimate the number of miles that Laura Ingalls Wilder traveled when she moved from the Dakota Territory to Missouri. D. On a map, use colored pushpins and yarn or highlight lines to illustrate where the Ingalls and Wilder parents came from and trace the family's moves from where the parents were born to Missouri.
They indoctrination story. Let's show you how to indoctrinate. Lord, I'm so tired of these damn people. Okay, let's stop this right here. That's probably why I stopped. Like, you don't even want to hear the rest of this nonsense. but because this whole story is crazy, I do want you guys to hear some more. It's only like 12 pages, but I'll maybe get into it another time. It's not that important or relevant, but either way, let's go. Let's get into something more important here that goes right along with this whole dang thing, right? I'm gonna get into this. I got a few more things, so I may not read all, a whole bunch of this, but I want you to hear some very, very prevalent points because I got to get to some other documents. So I'm going to have to close this one down shortly. So let's get to this.
Document resume So 034 494 The Homestead Act of 1862. Teaching with Documents.
You want the banana, baby?
National Archives and Records Administration, Washington, D.C.
No.
January 14th, 2003 13 p. National Archives and Records Administration, 8601 Adelphi Road, College Park, Maryland, 20740-6001. Tel, 866-272-6272. Toll free. Fax, 301-837-0483. Email, orderstattus@nara.gov. For full text, http://www.archives.gov/digital_classroom teaching_with_documents. HTML. Guides Classroom Teacher, 052, ADRS price MF01/PC01 plus postage. Primary sources, secondary education, social studies, student research, United States history, Homestead Act 1862, Lincoln, Abraham, National History Standards on January 1st, 1863, Daniel Freeman, a Union Army scout convinced a land office clerk in St. Louis, Missouri, to open the office shortly after midnight so that Freeman could file a land claim. In doing so, Freeman became one of the first to take advantage of the opportunities provided by the Homestead Act, a law signed by President Abraham Lincoln on May 20, 1862. At the time of the signing, 11 states had left the Union, and this piece of legislation would continue to have regional and political overtones. 6 months after the Homestead Act was passed, the Railroad Act was signed, and by May 1869, a transcontinental railroad stretched across the U.S. frontier. The new railroads provided easy transportation for homesteaders, and new immigrants were lured westward by railroad companies eager to sell excess land at inflated prices. Before the act was repealed in 1934, over 1.6 million homestead applications were processed and more than 270 million acres, 10% all U.S. lands, passed into the hands of individuals. This lesson plan provides extensive historical background on the Homestead and uses 3 primary source documents. Daniel Freeman's Homestead 172-106 title institution pub date note available from pub type ADRS ed 472-106 U.S. National Archives and Records Administration www.archives.gov January 14, 2003 Teaching with Documents The Homestead Act of 1862 National Archives and Records Administration, Washington, D.C. 204081 866-325-7208 http://www.archives.gov/digital_classroom/lesson/homestead_186 homesteadact.html 2003 Eric OUS. Minor changes have been made to improve reproduction quality. Points of view or opinions stated in this document do not. Best copy available.
Like
www.archives.gov January 14, 2003 Teaching with Documents Lesson Plan, The Homestead
How can
Act
we
of
indoctrinate the people with the truth?
1862 background on
How can
January
we
1st.
fix this story up, make this story sound a way that's beneficial to our the Tory, the Tory, the patriarchal lie enforcement of the Confederate stories, right? So now, how can we do this? We have to create or reconstruct a teaching system that will allow the people to be indoctrinated and see their minds, right? We've been talking about this all month, all week, all damn year, really. So when it comes to this, right, they have to find a way to take the truth and transfigure it into stories and present it and make it look a certain way, giving you a theatrical performance that gives you indoctrination in your mind by brain mapping the information on to you. Instead briefly, and then we're going to get into on these teachable documents, okay?
1863, Daniel Freeman, a Union Army scout, was scheduled to leave Gage County, Nebraska Territory, to report for duty in St. Louis. At a New Year's Eve party the night before, Freeman met some local land office officials and convinced a clerk to open the office shortly after midnight in order to file a land claim. In doing so, Freeman became one of the first to take advantage of the opportunities provided by the Homestead Act, a law signed by President Abraham Lincoln on May 20, 1862. At the time of the signing, 1 states had left the Union, and this piece of legislation would continue to have regional and political overtones. The distribution of government lands had been an issue since the Revolutionary War. At the time of the Articles of Confederation, the major controversy related to land measurement and pricing. Early methods for allocating unsettled land outside the original 13 colonies were arbitrary and chaotic. Boundaries were established by stepping off plots from geographical landmarks. As a result, overlapping claims and border disputes were common.
Remember yesterday
the
what they
Land
said
Ordinance
about
of
the plots.
1785 finally implemented a standardized system of federal land surveys that eased boundary conflicts. Using astronomical starting points, territory was divided into a 6-mile square called a township prior to settlement. The township was divided into 36 sections, each measuring 1 square mile.
Put one in the chat if you know about the townships. The townships, what was originally the townships, going back to the surnames of the Indians. Put one in the chat if you guys understand that, because you recall us going over the information and me clarifying it for you and the proof of it. And here's more documentation of the proof of what a township is, going back to the surnames, ownership. You find a town that has your surname, more than likely you're going to have land there. Key point, message. Let's go.
Or 640 acres each. Sale of public land was viewed as a means to generate revenue for the government rather than as a way to encourage settlement. Initially, an individual was required to purchase a full section of land at the cost of $1 per acre for 640 acres. The investment needed to purchase these large plots and the massive amount of physical labor required to clear the land for agriculture were often insurmountable obstacles by 1800. The minimum lot was...
I'm going to have to pause it because I don't want it to go up. I'm trying to record this part. In the chat. Hold on. Okay.
300 paying for installments, but cents an acre until...
Did the stream stop for a second? It said, oh my gosh, it did look like it skipped for a minute. I don't know what's going on with that shit, but yeah, listen.
1854. That year, federal legislation was enacted establishing a graduated scale that adjusted land prices to reflect the desirability of the lots that had been on the market for 30 years, for example, were reduced to 12-14 cents per acre. Soon after, extraordinary bonuses were extended to veterans and those interested in settling the Oregon Territory, making homesteading a viable option for some. But basically, national public land use policy made land ownership financially unattainable for most would-be homesteaders. Before and after the Mexican-American War in the mid-1800s,
Come on, homesteaders,
popular
you
pressure to
black-ass
change
natives
policy arose
and
from the
white
evolving
natives.
economy, new demographics, and shifting social climate of early 19th century America. In the 1830s and 1840s, rising prices for corn, wheat, and cotton enabled large, well-fenced farms, particularly the plantations of the South, to force out smaller ventures. Displaced farmers then looked westward to unforested country that offered more affordable development.
Now, you've
Prior to
heard
the
these
war with
stories many
Mexico-
times before. You've heard these stories many times before. It says displaced farmers. Who are the displaced farmers? Is that you? Is that your ancestors? You as a people. Who are the displaced farmers that were forced into the forest? Come on, guys. It's right in your face. Let's go.
1846 to 48, people settling in the West demanded preemption, an individual's right to settle land first and pay later, essentially an early form of credit. Eastern economic interests opposed this policy as it was feared that the cheap labor base for the factories would be drained. After the war with Mexico, a number of developments supported the growth of the homestead movement. Economic prosperity drew unprecedented numbers of immigrants to America, many of whom also looked westward for a new life. New canals and roadways reduced Western dependence on the harbor in New Orleans, and England's repeal of its corn laws opened new markets to American agriculture. Despite these developments, legislative efforts to improve homesteading laws faced opposition on multiple fronts. As mentioned above, Northern factories owners feared a mass departure of their cheap labor force, and Southern states worried that rapid settlement of Western territories would give rise to new states populated by small farmers opposed to slavery. Preemption became national policy in spite of these sectional concerns, but supporting legislation was stymied. 3 times in 1852, 1854, and 1859 the House of Representatives passed homestead legislation, but on each occasion, the Senate defeated the measure. In 1860, a homestead bill providing federal land grants to Western settlers was passed by Congress only to be vetoed by President Buchanan. With the secession of Southern states from the Union and therefore removal of the slavery issue, finally, in 1862, the Homestead Act was passed and signed into law. The new law established a threefold homestead acquisition process: filing an application, improving the land, and filing for deed of title. Any U.S. citizen, or intended citizen, who had never borne arms against the U.S. government could file an application and lay claim to 160 acres of surveyed government land. For the next 5 years, the homesteader had to live on the land and improve it by building a 12 by 14 dwelling and growing crops.
Listen.
After 5 years, the homesteader could file for his patent, or deed of title, by submitting proof of residency and the required improvements to a local land office.
You could do that shit now. I done told you. I'll take my class and find out.
Local land offices forwarded the paperwork to the General Land Office in Washington, D.C., along with the final certificate of eligibility. The case file was examined, and valid claims were granted patent to the land free and clear, except for a small registration fee. Title could also be acquired after a 6-month residency and trivial improvements, provided the claimant paid the government
all these settlers
$1.25
settling on your
per acre.
damn land.
After the Civil War, Union soldiers could deduct the time they served from the residency requirements.
Them damn
Some
union
land
workers.
speculators took advantage of a legislative loophole caused when those drafting the law's language failed to specify whether the 12 by 14 dwelling was to be built in feet or inches. Others hired phony claimants or bought abandoned land. The General Land Office was underfunded and unable to hire a sufficient number of investigators for its widely scattered local offices. As a result, overworked and underpaid investigators were often susceptible to bribery. Physical conditions on the frontier presented even greater challenges. Wind, blizzards, and plagues of insects threatened crops. Open plains meant few trees for building, forcing many to build homes out of sod. Limited fuel and water supplies could turn simple cooking and heating chores into difficult trials. Ironically, Even the smaller size of sections took its own toll. While 160 acres may have been sufficient for an eastern farmer, it was simply not enough to sustain agriculture on the dry plains, and scarce natural vegetation made raising livestock on the prairie difficult. As a result, in many areas, the original homesteader did not stay on the land long enough to fulfill the claim. Homesteaders who persevered were rewarded with opportunities as rapid changes in transportation eased some of the hardships. 6 months after the Homestead Act was passed, the Railroad Act was signed, and by May 1869, a transcontinental railroad stretched across the frontier. The new railroads provided easy transportation for homesteaders, and new immigrants were lured westward by railroad companies eager to sell off excess land at inflated prices. The new rail lines provided ready access to manufactured goods, and catalog houses like Montgomery Ward offered farm tools, barbed wire, linens, weapons, and even houses delivered via the rails. On January 1, 1863, Daniel Freeman and 417 others filed claims. Many more pioneers followed, populating the land, building towns and schools, and creating new states from the territories.
Creating new
In many
states from
cases,
who territories? The Indian
became the focal
territories?
point for community life.
This shit really
serving as-
aggravates me, guys. I know y'all probably like, sister, always chatting through the damn book. We trying to hear, but listen, it's so much to say. I really don't stop as much as I want to, but this right here is so infuriating, right?
Churches,
Listen
polling
again.
places. On January 1st, the
I'm
new
gonna go
rail
back
lines,
here.
6 months after as a result, in many areas, the original homesteader did not stay on the land long enough to fulfill the claim. Homesteaders who persevered were rewarded with opportunities as rapid changes in transportation eased some of the hardships. 6 months after the Homestead Act was passed, the Railroad Act was signed, and by May 1869, a transcontinental rail
Why are
and
they
new
trying to stop
immigrants
my
were lured
screen?
westward
I
by
mean,
railroad
literally.
companies eager to
It's not
sell
even
off
video,
excess
it's a
land
book.
at inflated prices. The new rail lines provided ready access to manufactured goods, and catalog houses like Montgomery Ward offered farm tools, barbed wire, linens, weapons, and even houses delivered via the rails. On January 1st, 1863, Daniel Freeman and 417 others filed claims.
Come on, don't tell me my teaching is going in vain. Sister, are you not aware of the black natives I keep talking about? The black natives I keep telling you, the Jesuits, the Quakers, the pioneers, the homesteaders, you know? Sis, come on. I know you're not late to the party. You've been around. Sis, come on. You must not be focusing, boo. This is this addition to more confirmation of everything I keep telling y'all and trying to show y'all, but people taking it for light information. Let's go.
Many more pioneers followed, populating the land, building towns and schools, and creating new states from the territories.
Creating new states
In
from
many
the
cases,
territory.
the schools became the focal point for community life, serving as churches,
This shit
polling
infuriates me,
places,
I
and
swear.
social gathering locations. In 1936, the Department of the Interior recognized Freeman as the first claimant and established the Homestead National Monument, near a school built in 1872, on his homestead near
Y'all
Beatrice,
ain't even got
Nebraska.
mad yet. Wait till I show you these
Today,
other documents.
the monument
This
is
ain't
administered
shit.
by the National Park Service, and the site
Compared to the
commemorates
whole
the
scheme
changes
of
to
it
the
all.
land and the nation brought about
Better
by
hope
the
I get
Homestead
to it
Act
today,
of
'cause it's too deep.
1862. Before the act was repealed in 1934, over 1.6 million homestead applications were processed, and more than 270 million acres, 10% of all
You hear this shit?
U.S. lands, passed into the hands of individuals. The documents: Document 1, Daniel Freeman's Homestead Application; Document 2, Daniel Freeman's Proof of Improvements;
Yeah, I heard
Document 3, Daniel Freeman's
You heard it.
Certificate of Eligibility. Image top right.
You
A
heard it.
family poses with the wagon in which they live and travel daily during pursuit of a homestead. 1886. Lesson Resources Standards Correlations Teaching Activities Document Analysis Worksheet OurDocuments.gov http://www.ourdocuments.gov/content.php page $document $31 page http://digital_classroom/lesson/homestead_act_18622/homestead_act.html URL U.S. National Archives and Records Administration www.archives.gov January 14, 2003 Teaching Activities Standards Correlations. This lesson correlates to the National History Standards. Era 5 Civil and Reconstruction 1850 to 1877 O Standard Law. The student understands how differed and how politics and ideologies led to the civil development of the industrial United States, 1870 to 1900. O Standard 2A. The
and all the things that they were deriving to set up plan for themselves to have rule over. This is going on now. It plays into shit that's going on right here today, guys. I'm trying to finish this out so I can get to the and physically overwhelmed at this point, but yeah, let's go. This is why they needed all the wow, that was real crazy. Just knocked me totally out. How absurd was that, huh? I guess that's a warning. I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. I guess it to be honest, to go over this intricate information with you guys, and it's like it's a lot to be putting out here. I don't even know if y'all get it, but I'm gonna read a little bit more just so you can see. It must not be meant for me to go ahead and complete what I was doing with the part 2. I'll probably do that in the private. Like that right there is crazy. First, it didn't even want to play it, and then when it did play it, it just kicked me right on out. That shit is nuts. I want to make sure it's stable. Let's give it a second. I'll play the video again for anyone that didn't see it. Spit it out, babe. For anyone that didn't see it. While this taking all day. No, I better not do that. That might be too damn much for sure. Let me stay right here for a second. All right, guys, here we go. Yeah, I'm about to get out of here because this is kind of draining. I ain't getting no one cash app today. All this stuff I be putting out for y'all, I don't be wanting to beg y'all, but like, come on, y'all. Seriously. I guess I need to have people up here arguing and fussing and fighting and cursing people out. Then I'll get a cash app or two versus providing you with soundful information. This shit is so tiring. Let's go.
Pound T39. These records are identified by assay or deposit number only. The relationship to other assay records is arranged chronologically. Assayer's register of silver bullion 1884 to 92 Laval 2 inches 40. A register of silver bullion deposits and purchases giving warrant number, assay number, description, gross weight, fineness, and date of deposit, arranged by assay number. Records of bars, coins, and coinage 1794 to 1914. The records described under this heading relate to the primary function of the mint service in the manufacture of United States coins and related coinage activities, including recoinage, redemption, exchange of coins, and the making of bars. Although the mint service was authorized in 1874 to make coins for foreign countries, none of the records are identified as foreign coinage records. Records relating to bars of bullion are also described in this part of the inventory because of the relationship between bears and coins. This interrelationship stems chiefly from the facts that bars, like coins, become a part of the financial reserves of the government, and that depositors of gold in amounts of over $100 may receive either coin or bars in payment. Waste books 1794 to 1833, 4 vols, 8 in, 41 contain a record of the deposits of gold, silver, and copper for coinage. Entries are arranged chronologically. Record of gold bullion deposited for coinage 1794, 1 vol, less than I degree in, 42 unarranged. Account book for coinage expenses 1795 to 1835, 1 vol, less than 1 in, 43.
That's the only real money,
Contains a record of the costs of coinage.
That's the only real money,
chronologically.
Yeah.
Chief Coiner's Gold Account Book 1795 to 1816, 1818 to 34.
Of course they need all that.
Lin. 44. A record of gold bullion received from the treasurer of the mint for coinage, arranged chronologically. Record of copper coinage 1796 to 1802, 1 vol, less than 1 in, 45. A record of better issued for copper coinage, arranged by warrant number V. Record of the chief coiner's contingent expenses 1821 to 41, 1 volume less than 1 in, 47. Arranged chronologically. Chief coiner's receipt books 1823, 1829, 2 vols, 2 in, 48. Arranged chronologically. Warrants to cover wastage on coinage 1823 to 43, less than 1 in, 49. Arranged chronologically. Record of deliveries to and by the chief coiner 1829, less than 1 in, 50. A record of silver ingots delivered to the chief coiner and of silver clippings delivered by him, arranged chronologically. Journal of the chief coiner 1833 to 34, 1858 to 59, 2 vols, 2 in. SI contains a record of the gold and silver bullion delivered to and received from the treasurer of the mint, arranged chronologically, records relating to copper cent planchettes, 1,837 to 50. 3 vols, 4 in. 52 include statements relating to the receipt of kegs of copper cent planchettes received at the mint, the treasurer's monthly accounts of copper coinage, and monthly accounts of the distribution of copper coins, arranged by type of account. They are under chronologically, mode /@ Kurglar bis 2 Psi. Tom M. Lar IGRET Army Med Bernicanode IMISN 700T, ARC-AENFC. Det-B contains a description of ingots and the weight of gold involved in rolling and cutting and in adjusting, cleaning, coining, and wastage, arranged chronologically. Lay ID records of wastage in the Chief Coiners Department, 1,850 to 72, 1 vol. Ban. 24 relates to wastage of both gold and silver coins in the Chief Coiners Department of the Mint. Each entry lists the denomination of coins, the weight of ingots, and the total wastage, arranged by type of metal. They are under chronologically. Register of fine gold bars, 1853854, 1,856 to 57,
I showed y'all last year the gold bars.
1,859 to 72, 1 volume lin. 55 A register of fine gold bars showing the registry numbers of the bars and their fineness, arranged chronologically. They are under by registry number. Statements of bullion deposited for coinage, 1,853 to 61. L1 vol. Lin. 56 consist of press copies of statements of gold, silver, and copper bullion deposited for coinage and sundry accounts relating to the operation of the mint. Unarranged. Paying tellers blotter, 1,855 to 67, 4 vols, 9 inches. A record of daily coin transactions of the paying teller giving for each transaction the date, warrant number, description, and amount of transaction, and the amount of receipts, payments, and balances, arranged chronologically. Coin order books, 1,852 to 57, 1,868 to 99, 14 vols, 2 feet. 58. Each entry gives name and address of person or firm ordering coins, AE value of coins, and date of shipment, arranged chronologically. Gold and silver coinage book. Jan, 1853 Dec, 1,857, 1 vol, 2 in. 59 contains an account of gold and silver coins received for assaying. The 5. Chief Coiners gold and silver accounts, and accounts of gold and silver coinage, arranged by subject. They are under chronologically. Sime Euro BNAA 4 Freight Book, 1,857 to 58, 1 volume, 1 inch. 60 contains an account of freight charges on shipments of cent coins to _livered from the mint, arranged chronologically. Underscore coinage ledger, Jan, 1858 Mar, 1,873, Feb, 1883 Mar, 1,883. 1 volume 3 in, 61 arranged chronologically. We record of coins received from individuals, 1,859 to 61, 1 vol. 1 in, 62 contains a daily account of coins received from individuals or firms. Each entry gives the date received, the account number, the name and address of the individual or firm from whom the coins were received, the number of coins, and the denomination of the coins.
And the account number of who? The rights
number,
of their gold
register.
under by account number of what their gold. The gold your ancestors have in their name that they keep and they have been using as funding, giving you fake ass dividend. I ain't gonna get into that story because I feel like I'm a record at this point saying this shit over and over to y'all. People, y'all think I'm just talking and shucking and damn jiving. But let's go. We're gonna get into this women's suffrage so y'all get an even better idea of all this. Let's go. I'm out of here after this.
June 20th, 2002 Teaching with Documents Lesson Plan, Women's Suffrage and the 19th Amendment Background Beginning in the Mid-19th Century, Several generations of woman suffrage supporters lectured, wrote, marched, lobbied, and practiced civil disobedience to achieve what many Americans considered a radical change in the Constitution.
Oh, really?
Militant suffragists used tactics such as parades, silent vigils, and hunger strikes.
Really?
The records of the National Archives and Records Administration reveal much of this struggle. As the 150th anniversary of the Seneca Falls Convention of 1848 approaches, historical documents, and a script that the National Archives commissioned about the decades-long struggle entitled Failure is Impossible serve as valuable teaching tools. In July 1848, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott organized the first women's rights convention in Seneca Falls, New York, and launched the women's suffrage movement. Many of the attendees to the convention were also abolitionists whose goals included universal suffrage. In 1870, this goal was partially realized when the 15th Amendment to the Constitution, granting black men the right to vote, was ratified. Document 1. A resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution, December
Teaching for Lies.
7th, 1868. In the year following the ratification of the 15th Amendment, a voting rights petition sent to the Senate and House of Representatives request that suffrage rights be extended to women and that women be granted the privilege of being heard on the floor of Congress. It was signed by Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and other suffragists.
All part of the whole women's movement. Even thinking about the women of the dames, the foundation of the dames. I'll bring that up for you guys so you understand that. I think I showed it before, but I'm not sure. The dames, that the organizations in a lot of these houses of representation of the states were created by the dames, which were supposedly the daughters of the so-called founding fathers.
Well known in the United States suffrage movement, Anthony and Stanton organized the National Woman Suffrage Association, NWSA, in 1869. Document 2, Petition to Congress, December 1871. The ideological and strategic differences that grew among suffrage leaders during and immediately after the Civil War formally split the women's movement into two rival associations. Stanton and Anthony, after accusing abolitionist and Republican supporters of emphasizing black civil rights at the expense of women's rights, formed the National Woman Suffrage Association, NWSA, in May of 1869. The American Woman Suffrage Association, AWSA, founded 6 months later by Lucy Stone, Julia Ward Howe, and Thomas Wentworth Higginson, protested the confrontational tactics of the NWSA and tied itself closely to the Republican Party while concentrating solely on securing the vote for women state by state. Document 3, Memorial to Congress from the American Woman Suffrage Association, February 6, 1872. In 1890, the two suffrage organizations merged into the National American Woman Suffrage Association, NAWSA. Stanton became its president, Anthony became its vice president, and Stone became chairman of the executive committee. In 1919, 1 year before women gained the right to vote with the adoption of the 19th Amendment, the NAWSA reorganized into the League of Women Voters. The tactics of the suffragists went beyond petitions and memorials to Congress. Testing another strategy, Susan B. Anthony registered and voted in the 1872 election in Rochester, New York. As planned, she was arrested for knowingly, wrongfully, and unlawfully voting for a representative to the Congress of the United States, convicted by the state of New York, and fined $100, which she insisted she would never pay a penny of. On January 12, 1874, Anthony petitioned the Congress of the United States requesting that the fine imposed upon your petitioner be remitted, as an expression of the sense of this high tribunal that her conviction was unjust. Document 4, Petition from Susan B. Anthony to U.S. Congress, January 12, 1874.
You can look that up if you're interested. That document. It is the petition from Susan B. Anthony to the United States Congress on January the 12th of 1874. I'm going to play this Israeli representative lady, again, Miss Judith Varney Shorer, and the nonsense that comes out her mouth all the time, but yeah. And then I'm out after this, guys. Peace, love, and bliss to everyone's day. Everyone that, anyone that signed up for the class today, you'll have an email by 5 o'clock as to the link to join. All right, let's go. I think I had a volume up.
We have a very, very special guest.
Very special, huh?
On behalf of the House, I want to say how honored we are to have this great leader with us, and it is my privilege to welcome to the House chamber the Ambassador Judith Varney Shorer, who is the Consul General of Israel to the Southeastern United States. Ambassador Shorer comes to us today representing one of the true great allies of our nation. Israel and the United States share a unique, both of our nations cherish and pursue freedom and peace.
Is that why Biden, on the 12th of October, go look it up, Biden made a speech, and in that speech he announced that, hey, soon we'll become a two-state government, which we know that is not really the real Biden. His dumb ass is locked the hell up. It's a wrap for him, right? Should I show y'all those documents again before we get out of here? I'll show you this. Maybe I need to pull those up to remind people of these false-ass people that keep parading around this fake-ass propagandist-ass news, making y'all think these people is real. And they trying to portray what's going on in the public to hide what's going on in the private. But yeah, let me get those up for you just to show you those on the way out. Let's go.
As a result, both of our nations have been targeted and terrorized by those who wish to spread fear and violence. The United States and Israel stand shoulder.
The overhaul, sis, the one I've been telling y'all about. I haven't been like I hate throwing stuff in people's face because it feel like I'm begging y'all, almost like I'm standing on the corner with a damn cup or some shit. And like, it really ain't even that serious for me. Y'all don't even know the value. Y'all can't even afford to pay for the shit I be putting in y'all head. But nobody even offers a dollar. It could be 100 people in the chat. Nobody even sends 50 cents or a dollar. I be looking like this should be crazy. But let somebody be yelling, hooping, hollering, talking about nothing, man. Y'all be down for the damn drama. This should be crazy to me. But when it comes to this, says the class tonight is going to be like literally everything. It starts tonight, actually. It's going to be a 4-week class. It may be 3, because very few people signed up. I literally got like a handful of people, less than a handful in this class tonight, like for real. So people not even taking this shit serious. Y'all want to sit up and keep playing with these people when they go to this cashless system. They keep trying to put these people on your land, and y'all be sitting around just wondering what they finna do next, what they doing next. You don't give a damn about your damn life, your future, or nothing else for your kids or grandkids. Y'all really don't. Like, y'all really don't, because y'all will really be getting in here, getting what y'all need to be getting. And this is not no sales pitch or none of that. Because shit, I'm a salesperson. I can sell, but I don't got to sell you shit. Y'all see it for yourself. I'm telling y'all all this stuff. And if I'm going to dedicate 4 weeks of my time to do classes and courses to put y'all through the whole rigmarole, or pretty much damn near, I can't even tell y'all everything that I know when it comes to this shit. But I can damn sure put you onto the knowledge and get you all the documents, get you all the study information, make sure you're understanding this and you have proof and documentation of these things and what you need to be doing in your life. Like, I don't got to talk about it. I like to be about it. I'll show you. I don't play. Anybody that's not taking advantage of that, I don't even know what to tell you right now.
To shoulder. The United States of America has no greater.
Yeah, I'll put it in there, baby. You can sign up still if you want to get in.
We stand up to those who would threaten our way of life.
I don't know why it did. Look. Why it do that? Why did it do that? Why did it do that? Let me share this shit again. Hold on, guys. It's crazy. All right, ready to go.
Half of the House of Representatives, I would present Ambassador Shorer copies of how 14 our relationship, and particularly request that the government of Israel maintain its consulate general in Atlanta for many, many years to come. With that, I want to present these resolutions to the ambassador and welcome and introduce to this House Ambassador Judith Varney Shore.
This grand introduction for this damn beast. They need to stop. They need to stop. This animalistic ass people. Yes, so there's the information. World Genie, I just put it in the chat, brother. Y'all really
Thank you, Georgia House. I'm overwhelmed.
For sure. Y'all really don't want to miss this. Whoever's serious about everything,
I'm overwhelmed.
don't want to miss it.
And I thank you for your strong continuing support of Israel, especially this year, as we celebrate our 70th year of independence. It's not much, but it's a lot.
Oh, it's not much, but it's like 70 years of Israel. Well, damn, you mean the creation of Israel 70 with only 70 years? But I thought that was the holy damn land. Ain't that what y'all over there about right now? Didn't y'all say that's the holy land? Even though we just read in the book a minute ago, it just told us everything that it was right over here, right in New York area, actually near around the Niagara Falls area, but we won't get into that. But she said they 70 years of existence. But hold on, lady. This was 5 months ago. Remember, maybe you're not going to mention it here, but let's remind you all. I showed you guys the documentation that their expiration was what, on the 31st, October the 31st, the country of Israel no longer is incorporated. You done lost that damn title of having a corporation now as the holy damn land, like the Holy See going into the Holy See with the Vatican and the government construct. What? Come on now, the shit can't get no clearer. And then Biden comes on the 12th and talking about, oh, we're looking for a two-state government. Oh, now Biden, you're trying to blend their ass over here with us now, make them part of America. Stop playing with us. This created ass nation of corporation. That's what Israel is, a corporation. And now y'all fighting and going to war, taking our money, using and sending our money, acting like it's a war so that y'all can try to fund this and try and keep y'all corporation going because it's a damn rap. Somebody done took it over. We're going to find y'all rogue ass too. Y'all Negroes going to be facing tribunals just like who? Like these people. Let me show you. Like these people right here. Maybe people did forget this. Let me pull this up real quick. We're going to get back to this idiot. All these indictments that were from October in 2017, right? It started, right? All these people been indicted, y'all. I told y'all these people have faced damn tribunals. Here's all they damn indictments right here. This shit is not a joke. All these people have been indicted. Hold on, let me back up. I hope I got the right document up. I think so. Yeah, here you go. All of them, all these people indicted. All these TV personalities, fake ass news with propaganda. They were playing along with these Democrats and they damn lies. All the pedophiles, perverts, all the reporters that were reporting missing children, missing child alert, but you're actually telling them, hey, it's a child over here. Go get this child, and giving code words in those TV messages when y'all were pressing that through the media, using that for human trafficking, child entrapment, and organ trafficking. Yeah, all that. It's a wrap for y'all ass. Stop playing with us. See, all of them. Yeah, all of them. Look, this them, all these people, the K's are everything we've been talking about. That serpent seed we talked about yesterday. See, look at McCain and look at all these people. Look. Look what she got. Look at her. See these leaders. Here goes the black native. See, this is a black ass native right here. You can see it in her damn face. Look, Trump put everybody under indictment. They all got damn indictments right at his dad's funeral. They handed his ass an indictment right at his daddy's funeral. Trump was not playing. He had no respect, ain't give a damn. On some real junk. This is what's really going on. I'm about to take this, guys. Let me let y'all finish this to this. Hold on 1 second, bro. I'm on this live. I'm going to finish this video. All right, guys, watch this real quick. I'm going to get right back to it. Let's get back to this idiot and the bullshit she's talking about, right? Because you know she bullshitting. What's up, brother? No, you're not. It ended on the 31st of October, baby. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Here we go. Here they go. Don't start. Why do it? Oh, I must have put the wrong one. Let me hold on, hold on. I did. That's why it's doing it. All right.
With the state of Georgia, state of Israel, for this honor and
The
for the
state of Georgia,
continuing
Israel and
special
Georgia.
and strategically important relationship with the state of Georgia.
What?
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate very much the passage of all resolutions, and mainly the last two ones. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You heard that? You think it? Y'all think this shit a game? Wait, remember we showed y'all with Georgia, Israel and the state of Georgia. Is that the two-state government that Biden was talking about? Huh? Huh? Y'all ain't ready for me. Y'all ain't ready for me because y'all need to be following along. I don't think I only got very few. That's why it's only a few in the class tonight. And that's why y'all about to be delivered. Peace, love, and bliss to everyone. We about to be out of here. It's a wrap. I got to handle some other business. And everyone look for your emails by this evening. Peace, love, and bliss. I